Hello, you glorious 3 over 3,000 people and the 83% who have yet to subscribe. Welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Everchosen and his slaves to darkness. Yes, the slaves to darkness, the big bad. Doesn't matter what the Skaven players say, this army is still the big bad. Just like in 40k with Chaos Space Marines and not Tyranids. Anyway, their battle traits, as we've seen in the faction focus, here is their battle traits with a little bit more context now that we've had time to see the game in fullest. So, the battle tactics, once per turn at the end of any turn. You've got the Eye of the Gods table, a classic from 3rd edition. Really enjoyed this when I had this. And I am going to be completely honest with you right now that I am looking at this army and thinking to myself, this army may be getting done rather than Blades of Khorne. Purely because they're chaos. And this is what Pointy was built on. This is what Pointy was created for. So, the Eye of the Gods. Pick each friendly Slaves of the Darkness unit that destroyed an enemy unit. That is a target. Friendly beasts and non-hero monsters cannot be targeted by this ability. So basically, this is a big change from 3rd edition because it's now every friendly Slaves to Darkness unit. Doesn't matter if it's a hero or a unit, they still get an Eye of the Gods roll. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Because it used to just be heroes. And then at the beginning of the game, you got to roll for Chosen, basically. But yeah, now it's every unit in your army, unless it's a beast or a hero or a non-hero monster. So your big vortex monster, your slaughter brute, all of those things, they aren't going to get to do it. But your chaos warriors are, your chaos knights are, which is really, really good. So make a reward roll of a d6 for each target and apply the corresponding effect below. You can re-roll the reward roll for the target. Cool. But if you do so and you roll a 1, inflict D3 mortal damage. The gods are fickle with your pickle. So basically, if you re-roll, you're risking the damage and, you know, that's going to be a bad one. But there is no spawn on here anymore, which is kind of cool. So 1 to 6, basically. Now, 1, snubbed by the gods, you'll get an effect. And if you did the re-roll, you're going to take D3 mortal damage. 2, mutated growth. You heal 3 on the target, which is quite nice. 3, unnatural grace. You add 1 to hit rolls for the target's combat attacks for the rest of the battle. And by the way, at the very bottom of this, it says the same effects can be applied multiple times. More than one effect can apply to a unit at the same time. So you could roll multiple +1 to hits. Now, okay, the rules are basically saying that you're only ever going to get +1 to hit. But that's cool. If you've got +2 to hit and you're -1 to hit, that will negate that minus, which is quite nice. Lurid Aura. The target has a ward save of 6+. Now, in the faction focus, I got this a little bit wrong, so we're going to clarify now. The target in the ward is a 6+. For the rest of the battle, if the target already has a ward 6+, it has a 5-up ward instead. Now, the caveat there is the ward 6+. I got this confused with the Mark of Zinch, where I said that because that unit has a 4-up ward save against spells, that it would clarify for this and give you a 5-up ward. That is not correct. Basically, you need a 6-up ward to get a 5-up ward. So, you know, it kind of works. Then we have 5, a Slaughterer's Might. Add 1 to the range characteristics of the target's melee weapons for the rest of the battle. An extra rend is always good. And then number 6, Champion of Chaos. Pick any other effect. Ooh. Nice. That's good. So we have obviously Chaos. We have marks. The Chaos Slaves to Darkness are basically a smorgasbord of the pantheon of gods, apart from the Horned Rat, because we care not for the little vermin. So basically, they have like a devotee, and they mark themselves to show their following of that Chaos deity. Now, Undivided is basically everyone. They view the Pantheon as a big, massive, basically power in its own right. And then we have the cult followings, which is basically the 4 Chaos gods. Now, yes, the cult gods do have their own armies. Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Slaanesh. But, you know, Slaves to Khorne can dip into that quite nicely. So, friendly Slaves to Darkness units have one of the following effects based on the Mark of Chaos keyword they have. Undivided, you add 1 to the wound rolls for the unit's combat attacks that target heroes and monsters. It's quite nice. Khorne, add 1 to the attacks characteristics of the unit's melee weapons for the rest of the turn. If it charged this turn, that is really good. In my faction focus, I said that Khorne was going to do this better. Blades of Khorne, and I was wrong. Tzeentch, obviously, you get the 4 ward save against mortal damage inflicted by spells, abilities, and used by manifestations. That's quite nice. And Nurgle, which is just probably one of the best ones, subtract 1 from room rolls for combat attacks that target this unit. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that. And then Slaanesh, add 1 to run rolls and charge rolls for the unit. So pretty good. Now, you're going to be surprised that there is going to probably be spells and other abilities that will tie into this. Because this is your key thing. And it's pretty quick, sweet. Okay, battle formation. So as I've said in every other video, the battle formations are super, super important. Because these are going to be the ones that dictate what models you take. So if you've got you want a real sort of, I want to do nothing but like a Nordic army, classic Marauders and Horsemen and all of that good stuff, especially with the new Darkoath models, there is a battle formation just for you. So, you know, you can tailor your collection to suit how you want to build your army, and this is how you do it. So first up, we've got the Legion of Chaos, united in darkness. While there is at least 1 friendly Warriors of Chaos hero and 1 other friendly Demon hero or Darkoath hero on the battlefield. Add 2 to the control scores of friendly Slaves to Darkness units while they are contesting an objective that is wholly outside friendly territory. It's quite nice. It's a passive ability as well, which I am a big fan of for the battle formations because they last for the entire game and they're not like you can only do it here and you can only do it there. Then we had God's Wrath warbands, so once per turn army at the end of your turn, pick an objective that is contested by a friendly unit to be the target, place a Defile token next to the target objective, and then roll a d3 for each enemy unit contesting an objective that has a Defile token. On a +2, inflict an amount of mortal damage on the enemy equal to the roll. We've seen this one in the faction focus. It's okay, end of the turn, splashing some damage on people, not bad. Despoilers, once per turn army, reaction, you declare a fight ability for a friendly Demon Prince unit. Obviously, this is going to mean that you're going to have to bring a Demon Prince into your army, and trust me, when you see what they've done to them, you are going to do that. Feral Ruin, so used by the Demon Prince until unit using their fight ability. Pick a friendly non-heroes Slaves to Darkness monster or beast unit that has not used a fight ability this turn and is wholly within 12 inches of this unit to be the target. The target can be picked to use a fight ability immediately after the fight ability used by this unit has been resolved. So basically, fight first type thing, double fighting with your Demon Prince and then a big monster. So if you're going to bring a Slaughter Brute beast thing and a big Vortex of Doom thing, you know, you've kind of got them. And then you got the Darkoath Horde. Once per turn army, in your movement phase, you declare if there are friendly Darkoath heroes on the battlefield, if you're going down that army, because you can pretty much do a full Darkoath army now. Pick a friendly non-hero, non-unique Darkoath unit that has been destroyed to be the target. On a 3+, set up a replacement unit with half the number of models for that target, rounding up. That is so nice. So the sort of Marauder element of the Slaves to Darkness now, you can bring them back, which is pretty cool. I like that a lot. So yeah, this is your battle formations. Next up, we have our hero traits. So these are the things that the additional rules that you can give a non-unique hero. So first one, favored of the Pantheon in the deployment phase. This unit can use the Eye of the God's ability as if it were the end of the turn and it had destroyed an enemy unit this turn. Basically, you're going to get a roll straight out of the bat. That's quite good. It's quite a popular one back in 3rd edition. So, yeah, I could see that one being used. In your hero phase, any hero phase, Radiance of the Dark Gods. So, declare, pick each damaged friendly unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit to be the target. Effect, roll a dice for each target, and on a 3+, heal 1 to the target, heal 3 to the target instead if it is a monster. That's kind of cool. And, you pick a friendly damaged unit within 12 inches, and you can give it a heal. So if it's a standard infantry unit, Chaos Warriors, you heal 1. If it's a monster, you can heal 3. That's not too bad. It could be quite a nice little thing to have a little hero running around, especially near Archaon, who is a monster. So once per battle, any combat phase, this unit can use 2 fight abilities this phase. Basically, you make this guy a Varanguard, essentially. It's the same rule. So you do your fight ability normally, and then at the end of the combat phase, at the strike last period, you get to do another set of attacks. It's quite nice if you really want a close combat-y kind of hero at the front. That would be kind of something cool to sit on top of. Next up, we got Artifacts of Power. These are the items that you give to your heroes. They're essentially items that buff them. If you're coming over from 40k, they're basically enhancements, okay? You're like your special weapons type things. So once per battle, start of any turn, Infernal Puppet. Pick a visible enemy wizard within 24 inches of this unit to be the target. The effect, for the rest of the turn, each time the target is picked to use a spell ability, inflict D3 mortal damage on the target. As a reaction, if the target is destroyed by this ability, do not resolve the effect of the spell ability. That's pretty cool. Basically, you, once per battle, start of any turn, you pick a visible enemy wizard, and for the rest of the turn, each time it tries to does a spell, it does D3 damage. Inflict D3 damage. Now, it's only 24 inches. So basically what that means is you can essentially get up to Teclis within 24 inches, pick him, and then every time he does a spell, which he's going to do because he has 4 to do, you can do D3 damage. A funnier one would be Nagash. That would be hilarious because he has 9 spells to do. So every time he does something, you're just popping out D3 mortal damage onto him. And if he dies, cool. Next, we have, once per battle, your hero phase, Realm Warper's Twister Ruin. Pick a terrain feature within 12 inches of this unit to be the target. If the target does not have the objective terrain ability, it gains the ability until the start of your next turn. Then roll a dice for each model, friendly or enemy, within 1 inch of the target, and for a 5+, inflict 1 mortal damage on that model's unit. So basically, you kind of get to do a little bit of Seraphon thing. You pick a terrain feature and blow it up. But it is only once per battle. It's not amazing. Passive. We like passive abilities. So the Conqueror's Crown. Nice. Classic item. Subtract 5 from control scores for enemy infantry units while they are in combat with this unit. That's not bad. But quite honestly, I would probably go for Infernal Puppet because wizards are going to be a pain in the arse in this edition. Next up, we have our spell laws, the Law of the Damned. So these are obviously done in your hero phase. So first we have the Spit Tongue Curses. So declare, pick a friendly Slaves to Darkness wizard to cast the spell. Pick a visible enemy unit within 12 inches of them to be the target, and then make a casting roll of 2d6, needing a 5. If the casting attempt is unsuccessful, or if the spell is unbound, inflict D3 mortal damage on the caster. Effects, you inflict 3 mortal damage on the target. Now, are you going to risk it for a biscuit? Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know. Potentially unbinding it or failing it to do D3 damage back onto you for only a return of possibly 3 damage. I don't think that really is great. If it was 6 mortal damage, then oh yeah, I'd be popping that off left, right, and center. And this is an unlimited spell as well. So maybe if there's like a hero that you really need to die and it has like 2 damage left, 3 damage left, and no real way to stop mortal damage, and you really need it dead, then yes, have a crack at it. But you know, I think the risk isn't outweighed by the reward, I think. Okay, so next, Binding of Damnation. Pick a friendly Slays to Darkness wizard to cast this spell. Pick a friendly visible enemy unit within 12 inches of them to be the target. Then make a casting roll of 2d6, needing a 7 or more. The target has the strike last until the start of the next turn. Now that's really good. I like that. Demonic Speed, the classic spell of Chaos. Now you're going to use this in conjunction with a lot of slaves, mounted units, and other stuff, especially with Slaanesh as well. That gets the +1 to run and charge, okay? Sorry, I'm choking. Pick a friendly Slays to Darkness wizard to cast a spell, and then pick a visible friendly Slays to Darkness unit wholly within 12 inches of them to be the target. Then make a casting roll of 2d6, needing a 7. For the rest of the turn, add 1 to the number of dice when making a charge roll. So basically, you could put this onto a unit of Chaos Knights with the Mark of Slaanesh that is getting a d6 charge +1. Pretty good. All right. So not bad. I think Spike Tongue Curse it's a gamble. It's a risk it for a biscuit. But, you know, you're playing Chaos. You know, that's the whole point. That's the whole lure of playing Slays to Darkness. There is a give and take. The Chaos Gods shine upon you, and then they try to literally teabag the crap out of you. Binding Damnation, it's okay. It's going to be very situational. Sometimes you're going to need that strike last. And Demonic Speed, if you're definitely going for a fast-flowing army that needs to get there, is actually quite good. But that's not all. Slaves to Darkness have their own manifestations, and we have some casting rules for them as well. So we've got the Summon Darkfire Demon Rift. If there is not a friendly Darkfire Doom Rift on the battlefield, we'll look at that war scroll later. Pick a friendly Slays to Darkness wizard to cast this spell, then make a casting roll of 2d6. Set up the Darkfire Doom Rift wholly within 12 inches of the caster, visible to them and more than 9 inches from all enemy units. Pro. So basically this is going to be how you bring in your manifestations for Slaves to Darkness, which they do have their own set. So obviously you've got the Summon the Eightfold Sigil, that can be cast on a 7 and placed within 12 inches of the caster. You've got the Realm Scourge Rupture, which again is casting on a 7 and being placed within 12 inches of the caster and more than 9 inches from all enemy models. Not bad, not bad. Okay, but we'll have a look at what those war scrolls do later in the video. Okay, so the first of our manifestations, we have this Realm Scourge Rupture. It has a 6-up ward, it flies, 5+ save, 9 for the movement health of 6, banishment of 7, and it has 2d3 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1 rend, 1 damage, and it does crits 2+. It does crits 2 hits, sorry. And then any charge phase, if this manifestation charged this phase, pick an enemy unit with 1 inch to be the target, roll a dice for each model in the target unit. For each 6, inflict 1 mortal damage on the target. Any models in the target units are slain by this ability. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for the target's attacks for the rest of the turn. Not bad. Okay, the Eightfold Doom Sigil. It has a 6-up ward. It's an ender spell, obviously. And it has a 5-up save. Doesn't move. It has a 6 health and 7 banishment. And it has a passive ability. So if 2 or more units, friendly or enemy, were destroyed this turn, for the rest of the turn, add 1 to the attacks characteristics of melee weapons used by friendly Slaves to Darkness units while they are wholly within 12 inches of this manifestation. That's pretty cool. +1 attack from it. It is only wholly within 12, so you're going to have to try to plonk it down in the middle of the board and then hope it doesn't get killed to get that buff. But yeah, it looks pretty cool with those flames. Finally, we have the Darkfire Demon Rift, which is flies. It has a ward save of 6-up. It has a 6-up save, moves 9, health of 6, banishment of 7+. It has a ranged weapon of 8 inches, d6 attacks, 2s followed by 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage. Can shoot in combat. Pretty good. And then it obviously has its demonic maw, 3 attacks, 4s and 2s, no rend, d3 damage. It has a passive ability. So each time a spell is successfully cast by a unit within 12 inches of this manifestation, give this manifestation 1 ruinous energy point to a maximum of 6. Each time this manifestation uses a shoot ability, add 1 to the attack characteristics of the Dark Fire Torrent for each ruinous energy point it has. So basically, you're going to get d6 plus 1 to potentially d6 plus 6, which is pretty good. If this manifestation is removed from play, all the ruinous points are also lost. This is pretty decent, to be fair, and it is hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s. Yeah, it's probably going to die quickly, but yeah, it's definitely a unit that's going to annoy people. I quite like it, and it looks really, really cool as well. Okay, the first of the War Scrolls, and probably the main one everyone wants to see, Archaon the Everchosen, comes in at a whopping 890 points. But oh my lordy, he is so worth it. So, he is a War Master, unique, hero, monster, Wizard 2, fly, and has a 5-up ward save. He comes in with a 3-up save, a move of 14, a whopping 25 health, and a control of 10. He is the Big Daddy G, the man, the legend that is the Everchosen. He is the big bad. Don't let people think that this little scrawny Skaven is. Nah, man. Archaon's the big bad. Archaon. Nagash only wishes he was this good. So this is the closest thing we have to a Chaos God on the field of battle. He is essentially a demigod at this stage. He's kind of running his own thing. The Chaos Gods don't really tell him what to do, and he is just an absolute baller. A beautiful miniature, which is probably one of the reasons why I'm probably going to be starting Slaves to Darkness. Yes, it's probably going to happen. I had them before in 3rd. I kind of sort of part painted Archaon, then I sold everything, and you know, the model is beautiful. It's such a brilliant, iconic AOS model, and the artwork for him is amazing. So, less gushing over him. Let's look at his rules. So he has a lot of weapons, as you can see. He has the Classer Slayer of Kings. This is the sword that has been gone through the ages. The Slayer of Kings has 4 attacks. It hits on 2s. He wounds on 3s. He has a rend of 2 and a damage of 3. Oh my lord. So that's pretty cool. But it also comes with a additional rule. So it has a passive ability, which is the Slayer of Kings. So each time this unit uses a fight ability, if the unmodified wound roll for 2 or more attacks made by the Slayers of Kings is that targets a hero is a 6, the hero is automatically destroyed. Now, this has been, I'm pretty sure that this used to only be 2 attacks. But 4 attacks now, hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, 2 rend, and then damage 3. Now, I'm going to have to clarify this, right? Okay, and I'm going to speak to the rules gurus, that is my friend and legend, Peter Pratt, and I'm going to sort of run by this by him when I play him at the weekend. But reading the Eye of the Gods, it just says any friendly Slaves to Darkness unit. Now, it can't be non-hero monsters, and beasts can't use it. So, I'm going to go by the theory that Archaon is also benefiting from the Eye of the Gods table. Okay? Unless I've read that wrong. But I'm going to go on the assumption that he is, which means that you're potentially going to get, you're not really going to get a hit of 2 to get any better, but you are potentially going to get additional rend. There's not much on there that's really going to benefit him, but that rend is. So you could potentially get this to rend 3. Okay. But realistically, there's not much on there that's going to like affect him, but he can technically get the Eye of the Gods. At least I think he can. So, once per battle, your hero phase, the Eye of Shireen. So, this is the funny little thing that you do at the beginning of the game. You roll the dice. This dice replaces the priority roll for the next battle round. On a 1 to 3, your opponent must take the first turn of that battle round. On a 4 to 6, you must take the first turn of that battle round. This ability cannot be used if there is an enemy Archaon on the battlefield. So Archaons can't roll off against each other. So this is once per battle in your hero phase. So, which is good now that it is. And you used to put it in a cup and hide it, and then you used to be able to sort of like decide, are you going to take it, are you not going to take it, and all this kind of stuff. It was kind of fun, but I kind of like this simplistic way of doing it. You have in the deployment phase, so the favoured warlord. So you pick one of the following keywords: Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, or Slaanesh, and this unit has the keyword in addition to Undivided. So you can kind of say, well, today I'm going to be a little bit Nurgle. Today I'm going to be a bit Tzeentch. Today I'm going to be a bit Khorne. And obviously he will take the benefit of that sort of buff that you get from the keyword. Now the good thing is, obviously, it's in your deployment phase. So if you are playing at an event and you are bringing in Archaon and you are coming up against a magic heavy army, maybe, just maybe, you might want that 4-up ward save against magic and spells. So you go, today I'm going to be loving a bit of a Tzeentch. If you're coming up against an army that's not really fighty, not really magic-y, you know, you could maybe go, screw it, in for a biscuit, I'm going to go for a bit of Khorne and get +1 attacks on the charge, which gives me 5 attacks with the Slayer of Kings. You know, that's pretty good. Or you could go for Slaanesh and maybe want to go for +1 run, +1 charge. Or you could just be really tanky and get -1 to wound with Nurgle. You know, that's kind of nice, and you also get, obviously, Undivided. So, Dragar's, the big mount, the big 3-headed dragon thing, which used to be a horse, which is now a big 3-headed dragon. Basically, I always think he's like the big 3-headed dragon from Dungeons & Dragons. So he has the claws and tails, which is drops from 6 attacks down to 4 if you put 10 or more damage onto him. These hit on 4s, they wound on 2s, they do 2 damage, and they do 3 damage per hit, and they're a companion attack. And then he has his heads, which is 3 attacks, 3s followed by 2s, 1 rend, 5 damage. Archaon ain't messing about. He's going to do some amount of damage. And then he also has the 3-headed Titan, which is once per turn army. Any combat phase, pick one of the following effects. Filthy Spewer, pick an enemy unit within 6 inches of this unit and roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in that unit to a maximum of 7. For each 3+, inflict 1 mortal damage on the unit. That's kind of nice because it's done in the combat phase, so you kind of like do a bit of a shooting attack in the combat phase, which is pretty good. Skull Gorger, which is obviously this Khorne head. Pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit and roll a dice. If the roll exceeds the unit's health characteristics, 1 model in that unit is slain, and you heal X this unit, where X is the target's health characteristics, is the unit's health characteristics. So, it obviously... Right, let's break this down. So, you pick an enemy unit, that's you're in combat with. You roll a dice. If you roll a d6. If the dice roll exceeds the unit's health characteristics, 1 model from that unit is slain. Now, if you're fighting a Kroxigor with a health of 6, you can't exceed it, so you can't kill a Kroxigor. But if you're, saying, fighting Khorne, and you're coming up against a Skull Crusher who has a health of 5, and you roll a 6, you do it. Now, here's the fun bit. Because that has a 5 health characteristic, you then heal that. You can then heal Archaon for 5. So it's pretty good. Now, you know, it really depends. So basically, most infantry models are going to have 1. If you come up against things like Sorcerers and stuff like that, other Chaos Warriors, they're going to have 2. So you kind of get a 3+. You're going to heal 2 health. So that's not too bad. It could be kind of fun just to sort of get a little bit of a heal on there as well. So, and the good thing is that you do combat abilities before you start rolling dice for a combat attack. So if you are over that 10 and you want to drop back below it, maybe do this and get a little bit of a cheeky heal on there. Get back below 10 damage, and then, you know, the claws and tails are back to full 6 attacks rather than down to 4. So maybe that's a good way of doing it. Then you have the Spell Eater. So this is the Tzeentch head. Pick a manifestation within 12 inches of this unit and roll a dice. On a 2+, it is banished and inflict D3 damage on the unit that summoned it. That is brilliant. That is so good. So get within 12 inches of a manifestation, roll a 2+, and go yeet out, get that off the board, and you take D3 mortal damage. I love it. Archaon is an absolute boss man, and you're probably going to take him in your army. Okay, so let's look at the other big bad of Slaves to Darkness. It is Be'lakor. Just, this model is amazing. Be'lakor is, basically, he was the first Everchosen, but he kind of got a little bit too big for his boots, and the Chaos Gods were like, nah, we're going to make you our bitch, and from now on, you are going to be the dude that teaches the Everchosen and shows him where all his stuff is, and basically be his bail bitch. And he kind of schemes against the Chaos Gods and schemes against Archaon a lot, and kind of wishes he was the Everchosen and was the chosen one, but he kind of isn't. He's like Obi-Wan in Star Wars, kind of wishes he was as good as Anakin, and yeah, but unfortunately he doesn't bitch slap Archaon. So, Be'lakor is 410 points, which is pretty good. So, he is a War Master, he's unique, he's a hero, he's a monster, he's a wizard 2, he flies, and he has a ward save of 6. He has an armor save of 4, a movement of 14, a health of 14, and a control of 10. He has a lot of ability, so obviously he has the battle damage one, so his Blades of Chaos will drop down from 8 attacks to 6 attacks if you put 10 or more damage onto him. And then he has a couple more, which we'll go through very shortly. So his Blades of Shadows is 8 attacks, can drop to 6. 3s and 3s, -2 rend, 2 damage. Crit, auto wounds. Nice. 6s, auto wound. Then he has his Claws and Spearing Tail. 2 attacks, 2s and 2s. 2 rend, 2 damage, and +1 damage on the charge. Nice. So he can dish out the hurt. Like he's not bad. He's not Archaon good, but he's pretty respectable in combat, to be completely fair. Now his ability. So he has a passive ability, which is Shadow Form. Ignore modifiers to save rolls for this unit, positive and negative. So he's kind of a bit like Eltharion. He's always going to have a 4-up save, because he ignores modifiers to save rolls for this unit. Alright, so pretty good. So once per turn, enemy combat phase, pick this unit and up to 2 friendly Slaves of Darkness units within this unit's combat range to be the target. Roll a dice for each target. On a 4+, that target has a strike first for the rest of the turn. That's really good. So once per turn in the enemy combat phase, you pick 2 friendly Slaves to Darkness units and basically roll a dice for each one. On a 4+, they get strike first. That's kind of nice. That could give you the edge, especially in it's your enemy's combat phase. So you like pick your 2 units and then you're essentially going to get to do them first. So that's pretty good. Especially if you get something like, I don't know, a couple of units of Varanguard and you get them to pop off first, and then at the end of the turn they're going to then strike again, which is quite nice. So once per battle, enemy hero phase, the Dark Master. This is funny. Okay, so pick a visible enemy unit to be the target. Visible means army board wide. Until the start of your next turn, each time the target is picked to use an ability, roll a dice. On a 3+, that ability has no effect. So basically, it's once per battle. So you go to Teclis, or you go to Nagash. You point at Nagash and you go, I'm your Dark Master. And Nagash tries to do his 9 spells, and anytime he rolls one of those spells, he needs to roll a 3+. He wants to move, he has to roll a 3+. He wants to retreat, he has to move the 3+. He wants to use a fight ability, he has to use a 3+. He has to do anything like that, he has to roll a 3+ and do it. So you can essentially shut down a model. Now, it's not as good as it used to be, but it's still pretty decent, so it's not bad. Then he has a spell in your hero phase on a casting on a 6, so you pick a visible enemy unit within 18 inches of this unit to be the target, then make a casting roll of 2d6. Until the start of your next turn, subtract 1 from hit rolls from the target's combat attacks. The target's combat attacks cannot score critical hits. Treat them as regular hits. So say you've got a unit like some of the ones that we've seen on other deep dives that have a lot of abilities on their weapons, like crits and you just don't get any of that. So You still get the +1 to damage on the charge because that's not a critical hit. But any of the stuff that says crit and in commas, they ain't getting that at all, which is really, really quite good. So Be'lakor is not bad. So yeah, and there's like a sub-army in the Slaves to Darkness that is built around Be'lakor. Okay, next up we have one of the newest models for the Slaves to Darkness, and an absolute beautiful, beautiful model. We have Abraxia, the Spear of the Everchosen. She is his right-hand woman, okay? And I can already hear the chuds getting angry because they've put another woman in a prominent place in a war game. It's a beautiful model. Get fucking over it. So, she is unique, a hero, a monster, and a 5-up ward save, and she comes in at 360 points, and she is glorious. So, 3-up save, movement of 10, 14 health, control of 5. Then she has Gobulga, probably butchered that, has 5 attacks, but can drop down to 3 if 10 or more wounds on her. 3s and 3s. 2 rend, 2 damage, anti-hero +1, rend, and charge +1 damage. Nice. And then the big dragony thing that she's riding, claws and fangs, 6 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage. Then she has all of the rules. So she's passive. She's a warlord of the first circle. She is pretty much the daddy G of all of the Varanguard. Alright? If a friendly Varanguard unit has the Relentless Killer's ability, while it is wholly within 12 inches of this unit does not have the strike last as a result of this ability. Oh my lord, that is so good. Oh, so what's this? You want to bring Varanguard with her? Yes, please. She has once per turn army, any combat phase, Roar of Damnation. Pick an enemy hero in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a dice. On a 3+, subtract 1 from the attack characteristics of the target's melee weapons for the rest of the turn. That's really good. And then she has Blood of Molten Varanite, so roll a dice each time a damage point inflicted by a combat attack is allocated to this unit. On a 4+, inflict 1 mortal damage on the attacking unit after the fight has been resolved. So basically it's a bit like a Magmadroth. You hurt her, she spills the blood onto you, and on a 4+, you take mortal damage. Then in any combat phase, you've got this cool rule. So if this unit is in combat, roll a dice and apply the corresponding effect. 1, allocate 1 damage point to this unit. 2, no effect. 3 to 4, add 1 to the damage characteristic of this unit. It's now just got 3 damage. And if you do this in a unit that just after you charge, you've now got 4 damage. And 6, the effect of a white hot applies to this unit. To this unit's Golgorga has critical mortal wounds for the rest of the turn. So basically, you also get crit mortals, which is kind of nice. But I do like the fact that you can get +1 on damage. So yeah, she is pretty cool and an absolute stunning model. So yeah. Okay, next up we have Eternus. I probably said that completely wrong, but basically he's the first blade of the Fiends. Basically, he was a Varanguard who's kind of sort of rebelled against Archaon and is kind of now Be'lakor's biatch. So he comes in at where is he? He comes in at 230 points. He's unique, he's a hero, he's cavalry. Okay? He has a 3-up save, he moves 9, he has a health of 9 and a control of 2. And if you want him, he's a part of the dual kit from the mounted Chaos Lord on a horsey, or you can build this guy. Pretty nice model. So he has the Death Glaive and the Skull Frail, 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage, +1 damage on the charge. Nice. And then he has his horsey, which is 3 attacks, 4s and 3s, no rend, 1 damage, companion attack. So then he has a couple of rules. So any movement phase, Veins of the Black Lightning. So this unit can use this ability if it has been destroyed. Roll 2d6, add 1 to the roll if a friendly Be'lakor is on the battlefield. On an 8, set up a replacement unit on the battlefield more than 9 inches from all enemy units. So basically, if you kill him, he comes back. Right, okay? And he asks that you need an 8+. A 7+ if Be'lakor's on the table. He is kind of Be'lakor's biatch. It's kind of like Be'lakor's right-hand dude. Yeah, it's a pretty cool story around him. So you should definitely check him out. So reaction, opponent declares a command for a unit within 12 inches of this unit. So network of spies, roll a dice, add 1 to the roll if the enemy unit is in combat with a friendly Chaos Legionaries or Chaos Furies unit. On a 5+, that command has no effect. The command still counts as having been used, and the command points spent to use the command are still lost. So it's pretty good. So you need a 5+, you can shut down command points being spent. Now, I'm fully expecting that when the Battle Tome comes out, that there's going to be a battle formation for the Legion of the First Prince, which will probably be a thing that will buff things like Chaos Legionaries and Dark Furies and this bad boy and Bellicor, because they technically should be their own little mini army, but they're like an army inside Slaves to Darkness. Slaves to Darkness is commonly Archaon's army, but there is like a sub-faction, a sub-army, which is Bellicor, Eternus, and like the sort of legions of the First Prince. So yeah, but this guy's not too bad. Yeah. Next up we have the Demon Prince, and oh my lord, have they improved this bad boy. So a Demon Prince now is coming in at 280 points, and in my impression is worth every single point. Now, I was a big fan of the plastic model when it came out. And then I got my Slaves to Darkness box set with the Chosen and the Demon Prince inside it, and the Ogrids, and was super excited. Started my Slaves to Darkness army, built my Demon Prince, looked at my book, and then realized that Demon Princes were absolute dog shit. They aren't anymore. They are really good. And for 280 points, it comes with a ward save of 6. It's a hero and an infantry model. They ain't no monsters. They have a 3-up save, they move 8 inches, they have a health of 10, and a control of 5. Now, they have the Mark of Gods, so you can pick one of the following marks to be it. So, Undivided, Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, or Slaanesh. And then the unit has an option of having one of the following options. You can have Wings, which increases your movement up to 10 inches, and Fly, or a Trophy Rack. You're going to use the Trophy Rack. Why? Because if this unit has a Trophy Rack, its Hellforged weapons also has the anti-hero +1 rend. I like that. +1 rend to get into the demons, into heroes. It's pretty cool. But how good are they in combat? Well, they've got 6 attacks with their Hellforged weapons. Hitting on 3s, nice. Wounding on 3s, nice. -1 rend, which can be improved. And 3 damage. Plus, they do critical hits on 6s, which is mortal damage. So, as you can see, massive improvement from 3rd edition. Really, really good. Okay, why you want to bring one of these models? Well, here is why. So, your hero phase, Ruinous Favor. Pick a friendly, non-unique unit wholly within, so you're not picking Archaon, wholly within 12 inches of this unit that shares a Mark of Chaos keyword with this unit to be the target. Obviously, when you build your list, you're going to build your army around a certain mark, and you're going to make sure that your Demon Prince has that mark as well. Roll a dice. On a 3+, that target can immediately use the Eye of the Gods ability as if they were at the end of the turn and they had destroyed an enemy unit this turn. Free Eye of the Gods rolls for any of your units is really good. Really good. You've got a unit of 20 Chaos Warriors with a Mark of Nurgle, and you've got a Nurgle Demon Prince. Cool, let's see what we get. Potential +1 rend, potential +1 hit. Yeah, so good. So, yeah, I like this a lot. I really like Demon Princes now. They are really super, super cool unit, and definitely worth the 280. Okay, so basically, this model is the model you buy if you want to build him, Eternus. So this is the Chaos Lord mounted on a demonic mount. Absolutely quality looking model. So even old world players who want to do Chaos should do these guys. So this is a Chaos Lord on a demonic mount. Comes in at 180 points. Not bad. Obviously, he's a hero. He's in the cavalry. Can have a Mark of Chaos. And he has a 3-up save, which is probably going to be standard throughout this army. Movement of 10, 8 health, 2 control. He has a cursed weapon, so no longer do you need to choose which weapon to model on your model. Has 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, -2 rend, 2 damage, charge, +1 damage. Pretty good. And then he's horsey. It's a standard horse profile. 3s, 5s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 1 damage companion. But then he has a nice ability. And it's pretty much come straight over from 3rd edition, which is nice to see. you declared a fight ability for this unit. Pick a friendly non-hero Warriors of Chaos cavalry unit, so your Chaos Knights unit that has not used a fight ability this turn and is within this unit's combat range to be the target. That target can be picked to use a fight ability immediately after the fight ability used by this unit has been resolved. If it is picked to do so, add 1 to the wound rolls for the target's attacks for the rest of the turn. Now, this has changed slightly from third. In 3rd edition, it was like a 12-inch bubble that you got to do it in. Now you're in combat radius, so you need to be within 3 inches. But they've added a little bit of spice to it, where that target unit, so those Chaos Knights, are now going to be +1 to wound as well, and fighting immediately, which is really quite good. And it's every time you declare a fight ability, so it's every fight ability that you're going to be doing. So basically what you're wanting to do is run this guy alongside a big, nice block of Chaos Knights, which, let's be honest, once you see what Chaos Knights can do, you're probably going to do it. Okay, next up we have the Chaos Lord on a card rack. I love this model. He's so cool. And he will come in at a whopping 250 points. Now, bearing in mind that a Chaos Lord on a Manticore is 10 points more expensive than this guy, and this guy will absolutely bust him. Look, straight away, we will see he has a 3-up save, where the Chaos Lord, for 10 points more on a Manticore, has a 4-up save. Yeah, so the more I see this, the more I'm pretty much convinced I'm right about what's going to happen when the battle tome comes. So, 3-up save, movement 9, health of 10, 2 control. He has hexed weapons, 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage, +1 damage on the charge, and does mortal damage on 6s to hit. Then he has claws and horns, 4 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage, companion attack. This guy ain't messing about, and you can give him a mark of chaos. So any charge phase, Brutus charge. If this unit charges this phase, pick 3 enemy units within 1 inch of it to be the target. Roll a d3 for the target, each target, and on a 2+, inflict that amount of mortal damage. That is really good. And then once per battle, any charge phase, pick this unit and up to 2 friendly non-hero Warriors of Chaos units, Chaos Knights, units wholly within 12 inches of this unit to be the target, and add 2 to the charge roll for that target. That is really good. So, you could really do something quite nice with one of these, the other Chaos Lord on a horsey, and 2 big blocks of Chaos Knights. Okay? So 2 big blocks of 10. Pretty good. Or at least 1 of each. Now, obviously, you can't put 2 heroes into the 1 regiment, so you could basically split this into 2 to do drops, but that's only for deployment. You run them along upside, you get this guy, gives them the +2 charge, because you can pick up to 2 friendly non-hero units, and they get the +2 to the charge, and then the other Chaos Lord is going to be able to get 1 of these units to fight immediately, and +1 wound. That's pretty good. And this guy's just a wrecking machine as well. That's a really nice sort of cavalry-themed army, which is very much looking like a possibility in 4th edition. Because cavalry in this edition are not really affected by many things. There's very little anti-cavalry in the game, and most of it is by other cavalry. So, and cavalry just seem to be going to be wrecking. So if you're into your cavalry, a Chaos Cavalry army is potentially something good to go on, and having one of these guys supporting those units with a mounted Chaos Lord is also a good thing. Okay, the Chaos Lord on foot. Now, you get this guy in the starter set, so if you're going to get the starter set, you get 1 of these, 5 Chaos Knights, 10 Chaos Warriors, and I believe that's it. And a Chariot, and you get a Chariot as well. So the Chaos Lord on foot is 140 points. He's a hero, he's an infantry, he can take a mark of chaos, and he is a 3-up save. See, 3-up save. This is an old fantasy model, but I've got a feeling this one's going to be staying around for quite some time. As a 5 move, health of 6, control of 2. He has the Reaper Blade, so 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage, and does critical damage on 6s. Pretty decent. Now, he also has a reaction, so you declared to a fight ability for this unit. Pick a friendly non-heroes Warriors of Chaos infantry unit. So basically, just like the mounted lord on the horsey, he is going to be able to do the same thing to Chaos Warriors, basically. Now, it's just Warriors of Chaos infantry, so it's not just Chaos Warriors. It is a unit of chosen can also be affected by this. So giving Chosen +1 to wound and striking straight after this guy is pretty good. So bear that in mind. You're probably going to have one in your collection. I would probably bring one. I kind of like this model. He is pretty cool. I would definitely change out the head though. But yeah, all in all, pretty impressed with the Chaos Lord with his amazing 3-up save. Next up, we have the other part of the kit where you can make a Chaos Lord on a Manticore. And the Chaos Lord on a Manticore comes in at 260 points. Hero, monster, fly, has a 4-up save. Straight away, I'm already seeing a trend of the old fantasy models not being as good as the new updated Age of Sigmar ones. This guy should have a 3-up save. Let's just say that. He's a Chaos Lord with a shittier save than a Chaos Lord on a horse. Right? So this should be a 3-up save. Period. Right? There's no argument. There's no... But the reason why is because this is an old model, and there's probably a good chance that they may disappear because these guys are probably going to be used in the old world. So I'm expecting the Chaos Lord and the Chaos Sorcerer on a Manticore to go bye-bye when the Battle Tome eventually drops. That's probably why they're a little bit not as good as the others. So he has a demon-bound weapon, 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend 2 damage, crits on 6s, and then the Manticore is exactly the same as the other version. It can take a Mark of Chaos, passive Iron Will Overlord, add 2 to the control scores for friendly Chaos Warriors of Chaos, wholly within 12 inches of this unit, nice. And then he has an Apex Predator, again, pick an enemy monster in combat with this unit, add 1 to the hit rolls for this unit as combat attacks that target that monster for the rest of the turn. This ability also affects the companion weapons, which is kind of nice because they normally don't. He's not bad, but let's be fair, you're going to be bringing one of the other Chaos Lords. You're not going to be bringing this guy. And if you have one, enjoy it. If you haven't got one, I would hold off buying it if you want one until the Battle Tome drops, because I've got a sneaky suspicion that this model, because it is so prevalent in the old world, will go back to the old world. And it is an old Warhammer Fantasy Battle kit. So next up, we have the Chaos Sorcerer Lord on a Manticore. And this comes in at 280 points. Pretty an old school model. Maybe one day we'll get a little bit of a better one. He is a hero, a monster, a wizard 1, and he flies. And he has a 4-up save. Pretty sucky, but it's okay. Movement of 12, 12 health, control of 5. And he can give him a mark of stuff. You will notice he can't give him the mark of Khorne because he is a wizard. He's a wizard Harry, so Khorne doesn't want to play with him. So he has his staff, which is 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend d3 damage, and then the Manticore has 6 attacks, 4s and 2s, 1 rend 2 damage, anti-monster, +1 rend companion attack. So once per turn in your army, your hero phase, Obscural Visions, pick a friendly Warriors of Chaos unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit to be the target and roll a dice. On a 3+, that target has a 5-up ward until the start of your next turn. That's nice. So, once per turn, army in any combat phase, Venomous Tail Strike, pick an enemy monster in the combat with this unit, and on a 3+, as strike last. Okay, one of the things that I'm going to say straight away is he has no War Scroll spell. Yeah. Now, I think that's the biggest thing that let down. Now, on a 3+, giving Warriors of Chaos units a 5-up ward, which is kind of nice. You could probably do that to Chaos Warriors, Chaos Knights, stuff like that. Yeah, cool, but he has no War Scroll spell, so it's a bit of a shame. But yeah, is he worth it? Maybe not. Gaunt Summoner is definitely got more utility than this. Okay, so we're getting a Chaos Sorcerer on foot. Again, not very good, but he has he's only 120 points. He's a 1-cast wizard. Again, you're going to probably take a Gaunt Summoner because of the utility that they bring. He only has a 4-up save. Maybe we might get another one in the future with a 3-up. You can give him a Mark of Chaos, and he has his Rune Blade. So he has 3 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1 rend, 1d3 damage. And he has his little once per turn your army phase. Pick a friendly Warriors of Chaos unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit to be the target and roll a dice. On a roll of 3+, the target has a ward of 5+ until the start of your next turn. That's okay. It's alright. He's a cheaper version of what the Manticore guy does, but again, doesn't have a War Scroll spell. So I think when it comes to between this and the Gaunt Summoner on foot, which I believe is an extra 50 points, it is, I would go for a Gaunt Summoner because it just brings more utility, and the Gaunt Summoner is a 2-cast wizard. Okay, a Gaunty Summoner, a Tzeentch unit, a Tzeentch wizard unit in an army. So, Gaunt Summoners on a Disc of Tzeentch, they are basically like your more powerful spellcasters. They're a little bit better than Chaos Sorcerers. Gaunt Summoners come in on a disc is 250 points. One on foot will be 170 points. So they're heroes, the wizards. One, they've cavalry and they've got a ward of 6+, 4-up save, movement of 12, health of 6, control of 2, and then they've got their weapons. So they have their staff, which is a 12-inch range, 3 attacks, 4s, 3s, -1 rend, d3 damage, and they do critical mortal damage on 6s to 8. I drink and I know things. They also have a melee weapons, so it's the Warp Tongue Blades. So 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage, and then the disc has 2 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1 rend, d3 damage companion. So not bad, not amazing. You like honestly, you don't want these guys in combat, right? If your Gaunt Summoners are in combat, you've screwed up somewhere. So you don't really want them to fight. But if they do get into combat, they can kind of look after themselves a little bit. They will probably die eventually, but, you know, you don't really want them fighting. In the deployment phase, minions of the Silver Tower. So this is where you can get to do a little bit of shenanigans, like the Stormcast Eternals. So pick a friendly unit that has not been deployed to be the target. You put that target in the Silver Tower. And obviously this goes into your movement phase ability, so the Book of Profane Secrets. Pick a friendly unit that is in the Silver Tower to be the target. You can set it up anywhere on the battlefield, wholly within 12 inches of this unit and more than 9 inches from enemy units. That's pretty nice. So you can kind of get like a little bit of a sort of a drop. It's a little bit of a shame that you have to drop within 12 inches of this unit and it can't just drop anywhere it wants. But I mean, that would be a little bit too powerful for Chaos to have that, so I can understand why not. You know, only Stormcast Eternals can do crazy things like that. In your hero phase, you've got a spell, Arcane Imprisonment, on casting on 7. So pick an enemy hero in combat with this unit to be the target, and then make a casting roll of 2d6. If the unmodified casting roll exceeds the target's health characteristics, it is automatically destroyed. Nice. For the rest of the battle, that unit cannot be picked to be the target of an ability that allows a replacement unit to be set up. Basically, that's pretty good. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Now, most heroes are going to have at least 6 health. So, you know, you're going to need at least an 8+, maybe a little bit higher to get rid of it. But, yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty nice. Maybe you do want to get him into combat, but I still wouldn't risk that. Then we have a Gaunt Summoner on foot, which comes in at 170 points. The beautiful models are really fun if you want to learn how to glaze properly. Tzeentch is always an army that really sort of pushes you into that direction when it comes to your painting, because they have such crazy colours that blend into each other. It's really nice. They're a hero, they're wizard 1. Is that a hero 1 or 2? I think it's a 1. And they're a ward save of a 6-up. I think it's a wizard 2. They have a save of 6, health of 5, move of 5, control of 2. They've got the chain staff, which is pretty much just like the other one. And then they got the Worm Tongue Blade, which is pretty much just like the mounted one. So again, in the deployment phase, you get to put a unit in the Silver Tower, and you also get to deploy that unit within 12 inches and 9 inches away from enemy units. So again, it's exactly the same, and the only difference is his spell. So your hero phase, Divert Realm Gate, casting on 7. Make a casting roll of 2d6. Units set up this turn using this unit's Book of Profane Secrets ability can set up wholly within 18 inches of this unit and more than 7 inches from all enemy units instead of the distance in the ability. Well, we've now found a really good use for Gaunt Summoners. You ain't bringing a disky one unless you're trying to kill heroes. You're bringing this. The reason why is because you have now got an 18-inch bubble to drop that unit. That is huge. That is really good. So, and also you can drop within 7 inches of an enemy model, which means you can get a 7-inch charge off rather than a 9-inch charge, which means the odds are forever in your favor. This is really good. I would definitely bring a Gaunt Summoner on foot just for that ability. So now just imagine this. you put a unit of 6 Varanguard into the Silver Tower. You move this guy forward a couple of turns, so he's pretty much quite far into the board. And then, in your movement phase, you deploy said Varanguard. Now, obviously, you're going to have to cast this spell, which is casted on a 7. And once you get it off, and I'm pretty much guarantee that your opponent is going to work really hard to try to stop you from getting that. And then you bring that unit down within 18 inches of this Gaunt Summoner and 7 inches from him. And then you have a unit of 6 Varanguard 7 inches away from him and is going to absolutely really give him a bad day. So that is really nice. I like that a lot. Gaunt Summoner is definitely going to be an option in my armies in the future. Okay, another new model in the range, which is the Exalted Hero of Chaos. And boy, this boy is big. He is a chunky boy. He's a hero, he's infantry, he's got 3 up save, moves of 5, health of 6, control of 2. You can give him a Mark of Chaos, and he has the Blades of the Dark Champion. So, 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage, and he is anti-hero and anti-monster. Pretty good. He's Glory Seeker, so add 1 to the damage characteristic of this unit's melee weapons for attacks that target heroes and monsters. Basically, he is a future Chaos Lord in the making, and he wants to make a name for himself. And the rules reflect that, which I quite like. It's thematic, and it's pretty cool. And an Exalted Champion is going to come in at a lovely 130 points. So a nice, cheap hero. And bearing in mind, you will be able to make him better with the Eye of the Gods rolls. Okay, so let's look at the Varanguard. Probably the most popular unit that's seen in 3rd edition. We had entire armies built around them, and they are really good. They are like the Everchosen's elite. This is what you aspire to be if you are on the path of the damnation to be a part of Archaon's army. You want to be a Varanguard. You want to be a part of his circles. So basically what they come in at is, they come in at 310 points for 3. Now, they are big, chunky cavalry, and they are scary. So, they're cavalry. They have a 3 up save, which is to be expected. They have a move of 10, a health of 5, and a control of 2. Now, some people would argue that they should have an armor save of 2, just like Skull Crushers in the Blades of Khorne, but these things are way better. So obviously you can give them a Mark of Chaos, and they have their weapons. So they have Demon Forged Blades. So no longer do you have to choose if you're going to have Ensorcered Blades or Cursed Blades or Demon. They just have Demon Forged Blades now. So it doesn't matter how you've modeled them. This is what they've got. They have 3 attacks. They hit on 3s. They wound on 3s. They rend 2. They have 2 damage. And they plus charge, +1 damage on the charge. And they also do mortal damage on 6s to hit. Pretty good. Now, bearing in mind, there's a lot of this can be improved with the Eye of the Gods roll. You can improve that hit roll to a 2. You can get that rend to multiple rends if you roll right. And that's pretty good. And given the Mark of Khorne, 4 attacks on the charge each, it's going to be pretty brutal. But they also have an ability. So once per battle, so you can only do this once, any combat phase, this unit can use 2 of fight abilities this phase. After the first is used, however, this unit has the strikes last for the rest of the turn. So basically, you can get in, you rinse, fight, and then at the end of the phase, strike last, do it again. Pretty good. Really like them. Now, obviously, with the reinforcement that you're going to get, you're only ever going to get a unit of 6 of these. But even then, a unit of 6 is going to be coming in at around about, 620 points. So that's pretty expensive. But yeah, you've got to love them. They're Varanguard. They're so cool. So the Humble Chaos Warrior, I like them. Chaos Warriors are cool. Like, let's just not hide around it. They are pretty awesome. And they come in at 200 points for 10. 3 up save, movement of 5, control of 2. Health of 2, control of 1. Rune Etch Blades. 2 attacks, 3s and 3s. -1 rend, love it. 1 damage, and they do auto wounding on 6s to hit. They can have a Mark of Chaos, a Nurgle, and they have a passive ability. So add 1 to the attack characteristics of this unit's rune-etched weapons while it is contesting an objective you control. Now, in one of my other videos with Seraphon, someone pointed out that the Seraphon ability isn't very good because it says all the models. Now, this is pretty much a similar ability, but as you can see, this is add 1 to the unit's rune retro while it is contesting an objective. I have a feeling that the Seraphon Saurus ability is going to get FAQ to be more like this, because I can see there's this type of rule, and then there's the one with the models, and it's kind of, yeah, a little bit different, but it kind of does the same thing. So I can see them sort of fixing that. So it's basically, if you're on an objective, you get it. Because otherwise, it kind of promotes you never to take big units, and you're never going to spend more money on a big block like that. So, yeah. That's just my 2 cents. That's what I think. They may do it, they may not, but we'll see. Next up, the Chaos Knights. We've seen these in the Faction Focus, and they are amazing. And they come in at 250 points. They are expensive compared to other cavalry units, but they are so damn good. They have a 3-up save. They have 4 health each. They are heavy cavalry. They move 10, they control of 1, and you can obviously give them a Mark of Chaos. And they have the Cursed Lances. No more do you need to change their weapons. In fact, I don't even think you can. I think this kit only comes with Lances. 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, 1 damage, and they get +1 damage on the charge, and then the horses have a standard horsey profile. So if this unit charges this turn, for the rest of the turn, add 1 to the rend characteristics of this Cursed Lance. So not only is it +1 damage on the charge, it's +1 rend on the charge. So rend 2, damage 2 on the charge. And again, you will be able to buff this unit through the Eye of the Gods. Then you add in the Lord on the Cardrak and the Mounted Lord on the Demonic Steed, and you are really going to get a nice absolute hammer unit with 10 of these. Plus with the new combat ranges of 3, you're probably going to get all 10 of these into combat. So yeah, and they're beautiful models. So why are you not starting a mounted Chaos Knight army? Okay, you thought we forgot them. They're not. Chaos Chosen. Basically, they're Varanguard on foot. Chaos Chosen come in at 250 points for 5 models. They are really nice. They are 3-up save. They move 5. They've got 3 health, control of 1, and their blades and their weapons basically 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage. They do critical mortal damage on 6s. You can give them a Mark of Chaos, and they basically do what the Varanguard do. So if they fight, they can fight twice, once per battle, and then you fight last, strike last for the last ones. Pretty decent. Yeah, and you got to remember as well that these guys are also going to be affected by the Eye of the Gods table, so you're going to be able to get some pretty nice buffs on these. And 250 points, not bad at all. Okay, Chaos Chariots. Chaos Chariots are war machines. You get one in your starter box. Chaos Chariots come in at 110 points. They are cheap. Cheap. They are a 4-up save. Movement 10. Health of 7. Control of 2. There's a trend here. Any of the old fantasy models that are in the old world have a worse save than anything else. There's a Chaos Warrior on this. Why is it not got a 3-up save? You can give it a Mark of Chaos, and then you can also choose between a Chaos War Frail or a Great Axe. And then in the charge phase, it can, if this unit made a charge roll this phase, pick an enemy unit with 1 inch to be the target, roll a d3 on a 2+, inflict the amount of mortal damage equal to the roll. So the War Frail, 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, no rend, 1 damage, or the Great Axe, 3 attacks, 4s and 3s, 1 rend, 2 damage, Lashing Whip, 2 attacks, 4s and 4s. Yeah, they're not amazing. 110 points. Yeah, there's a trend slowly emerging. Next up for the Chariots is the Go Beast Chariot. So it's basically a chariot that's pulled by 2 big beasties. There used to be sort of like a thing with which one was better and which one was worse. So the Go Beast Chariot comes in at 120 points. 10 points more than the other one. Again, 4-up save. There's a trend. Movement 9, health of 8, control of 2. And again, you can give it the Mark of Chaos, and then you get to choose between which weapon, which haven't really changed. In fact, the entire profile is exactly the same. The only thing different that you're paying 10 points more for is this ability, Brutal Momentum. When this unit uses the Power Through command, inflict an additional D3 mortal damage on the target and add 3 inches to the distance this unit can move as part of that ability. Now, we've already had a video about Power Through, and there are more units that have these little rules that kind of buff power through. The Stormcast Chariot is also one of them. You kind of got to ask yourself, is that worth 10 points more for an additional D3 mortal damage on the target? Okay, maybe, yes. It's completely up to you. But again, I'm seeing a trend here with the old fantasy models and things that are in the old world, and being a slightly weaker when it comes to saves than their Age of Sigmar counterpart. Okay, we have the Chaos War Shrine, another classic Warhammer Fantasy model in Age of Sigmar. And again, looking at that save, and the fact that I believe it is in the old world. So again, this is another unit that I would put a little bit of an earmark next to that may be getting removed from the Battle Tome at a later date. So it comes in at the War Shrine. Where is it? Can't find it. It's not a hero, is it? It is a hero. I'm looking in the complete wrong box because I was looking at it. It's 250 points. Can have a Mark of Chaos. It's a Priest 1. 4 up save. Moves 8. 14 health. Control 5. Sacrificial Blades. 4 attacks. 3s and 3s. -1 rend 2 damage. And Flailing Fists. 4 attacks. Which 6 attacks would drop down to 4 if you put damage onto it. 4s followed by 3s. No rend 2 attacks companion. Okay. So has a passive ability. Friendly Warriors of Chaos units have a 6-up ward while they are wholly within 12 inches of this unit. Wholly within 12, it's not a really big bubble. It's okay. Now, it probably would be way better if it was wholly within 18 inches, but I can see what they're doing with the design. So you have a prayer in your hero phase, Favor of the Gods. Pick a friendly Slays the Darkness unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit that shares a Mark of Chaos with this to be the target. Then make a chanting roll of a d6. Apply one of the following effects to the target for the rest of the turn, depending on the Mark of Chaos being used. So if you both share Undivided, when the target uses a rally command, you can make 3 additional rally rolls of a d6. Nice. I think that would be something like 12 dice that you're rolling. Khorne, add 1 to the hit rolls for the target's attacks. Quite nice. Tzeentch, you get a 5-up ward. Nurgle, you add 1 to the wound rolls for the target. Add 1 to wound rolls for target's attacks. So you're going to be +1 to wound, and you're also going to be -1 to be wounded. That's really kind of cool. And then Slash, add 1 to the number of dice rolls when making charge rolls to a 3. So you're not going to need the spell. And if the chanting roll is 8 or more, you can pick up to 2 eligible units to be your target. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty impactful, but let's be fair. It's an old fantasy model that's in the old world. If you've got one, use it. If you're wanting one, maybe hold off till you see what the Battle Tome has. This is Soul Grinder. This is a 40k unit. I'm not covering it. Okay, so another hero infantry model. We have the Ogrid Myrmidon. So, you know, you got a hero. So if you want to do a regiment of Ogrids, you can. You got a hero here, and you've got a unit that goes with him. Has a 4-up save, move 6, hate, health, control of 2. Can give him a Mark of Chaos. He also has the Myrmidon Rage, so while this unit is damaged, add 2 to the attacks characteristic for this unit's weapons. And then he has the fight ability. So he basically does what a Chaos Lord does to the for the Warriors of Chaos, but he does the same thing to Ogrids. Surprise, surprise. And he also gets them to get +1 to hit, which is kind of what you need with those Ogrids. So quite nice. And remember, Eye of the Gods is also going to affect these guys. So 4-up save, move 6, health, control of 2. He has the Spear, which is a ranged attack. Range 10, 1 attack, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, d3 damage. And then he has melee weapons, Gladiator Spear, 6 attacks, 3s and 2s, 1 rend, 3 damage, anti-monster, +1 rend. I quite like him. I like Ogrids, you know, like, and the fact that you've got a hero that is going to buff them in a significant way, you know, that's quite a nice thematic looking army of having a lot of Ogrids in your army, and then backed up by some other stuff, maybe some Darkoaths. Okay, the Ogrid Thermodons, such cool models. Basically, angry ogre minotaurs, really cool. Kind of, you know, another unit maybe Beasts of Chaos should have got, but we've got them, so they're kind of nice. They are infantry. and they have all the good stuff. And they are basically 200 points for 3, which is not bad. So, they have a 4-up save, nice, movement of 6, health of 5, control of 2, and they can be given a mark of chaos, which is good, and they have a once per battle any combat phase ability, so you add 1 to the damage characteristic of this unit's melee weapons for the rest of the turn. But it's only once per battle. Basically, you unleash your savagery. They get really angry, and they get +1 damage, which means that their weapons are going to be 4s, 4 to hit, 2s to wound, -1 rend, 2 damage, and then they're anti-infantry +1 rend. So it's not bad. They're pretty decent, to be fair. And now bearing in mind that these guys also are going to be benefited from the Eye of the Gods, so you're going to be able to increase that hit roll to be better, and you're potentially going to get more rend on that as well. And then you can pop your damage and get 3 damage. So yeah, they're not bad. I like giving them a mark of corn, so you get the +1 attack on the charge. So yeah, pretty decent unit. Quite like them. Okay, now we're going to get to the funny units. The Mutalith Vortex Beast. Again, another thing that I've got a feeling is not going to survive the changeover to Old World. So the Vortex Mutilated Beast, kind of cool. It's like a really weird tentacle monster with stuff coming out of its mouth. And it comes in at 190 points. So it has a load of rules, obviously. It's a 4-up save. Again, there's a trend. But it is a monster, and it's not a Chaos Warrior, so we can forgive that. Movement of 10, health of 14, control of 5. Crushing Claws, 4 attacks, 4s, 2s, -1 rend, D3 damage, companion. And then it's 12 attacks, which drops down to 8 if you damage it. 4s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage, crit, auto wounding, and it is a companion. So in any hero phase, it re-heals itself D3, and then once per turn in any combat phase, pick an enemy unit within 12 inches of this unit to be the target. Roll a dice and apply the corresponding effect. If this unit is wholly within 12 inches of a friendly Tzeentchian wizard, you can roll 2 dice instead. Pick either result and then apply the corresponding effect. So you can go 1, no effect. 2, subtract 3 from the target's control score. Cool. On a 3, the target cannot use commands for the rest of the turn. Not bad. 4, subtract 1 from the target's movement characteristics for the rest of the battle. Nice. 5, inflict D6 mortal damage on the target, then heal D6 to this unit. Cool. And then 6, pick any other effect. Okay. That's not bad. Yeah. It's a nice big model. Fun painting project. Tentacles. Pretty cool. Next up, we have the Slaughter Brute, and it's another monster. It's the other part of this kit, so that kit can make this and the Vortex Beast. And this is 240 points. Has a 4-up save, movement of 10, 14 health, 5 control. Razor-tipped claws, which drops down from 8 attacks to 5. 4s, 2s, -1 rend, 2 damage. Anti-infantry +1 rend. Nice. And then Mighty Jaws, 2 attacks, 4s or 2s, -1 rend, 3 damage. Then he has once per turn, any charge phase, rampaging charge. If this unit charged this phase, pick an enemy unit with 1 inch to be the target. Roll a d3 on a 2+. Inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll. If the target unit is infantry, double the amount of mortal damage it inflicted. You want to be putting this into infantry. Deployment phase. Pick a friendly Slaves of Darkness hero within this unit's combat range to be the unit's master. For the rest of the battle, while this unit is within the master's combat range, add 1 to the combat number of dice rolled when making charge rolls. Yeah, I would slap this onto a Chaos Warrior Lord on foot just for the lulz, and then basically have his pet Slaughter Beast just charging to the screen units on the front line. It could be kind of fun. I mean, you could essentially put this with like a Chaos Lord mounted in your Chaos Knight mount army, because, you know, that's what you want to do. And just send this into the screen to absolutely wreck it and lift it, and then all the Chaos Knights then go into the good stuff at the back. So, you know, that could be fun, but it is 200 points, 200 odd points. Okay, then we got the Centurion Marshal. This is another one of the Bellicor army of the Legion of the First Prince type models. He is a hero and he is cavalry. It's a beautiful model. It really should have been in the Beast of Chaos army as a sort of Centaur hero, and this is what Centaurs should look like if they ever do them, which they're not going to, sadly. Rest in peace, Beast of Chaos. This guy is 180 points. He has 4 up save, movement of 10, movement 8, health of 10, control of 2. He has his spear, which is 6 attacks, 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage, +1 damage on the charge. Absolute stunning model. Yeah. So basically, this guy can do you declare a fight ability with this. So pick a friendly non-hero undivided unit that has not used the fight ability this turn and is within this unit's combat range to be the target. That target can use a fight ability, and immediately after the fight ability is used, this unit can be resolved, and then you add 1 to the hit roll. So basically, again, what the idea around this guy is, he basically buffs the Legionnaires, which we're going to be looking at shortly, or you can give Chaos Warriors the Mark of Undivided and do it to them. Yeah, he's not bad, but again, like I said, the whole theme behind this guy is he's kind of one of like the lieutenants for Bellicor, and that's basically, you know, that's kind of how his rules are reflected. The guy that we just looked at this is the unit he's going to basically be buffing. The Chaos Legionaries, they're like mortals, but not. They're 90 points for 8. They used to be, I believe that they were a Warcry warband at one point. They've got a 4 up save. They've got movement of 5, health of 1, control of 1. They're only 80 points for 8 models. Pretty dirt cheap, to be fair. 2 attacks, 3s followed by 4s, 1 rend, 1 damage. And then Soul Confusion. So pick an enemy unit within 6 inches of this unit to be the target. Roll a dice on a 4+. That unit can't use commands. Not bad. Like, they're cheap chaff. Not bad. And they can turn off command abilities. That's not bad at all. Yeah, not bad. And they do have the undivided keyword, so that would work in with the Centurion. Cool. Raptor X's. They were pretty popular during the competitive scene of 3rd edition, especially for slaves armies for cheap units. And are they going to still be cheap in this one? Yep, 90 points for 6. Pretty decent. So they've got a 6 up save. They're beasts, so they're not going to be taking objectively on account of scoring of 1 for control. Move 10, health of 2, 1 control. They've got their beaks, 3 attacks, 4s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage companion, and then they've got a passive crazed flock. If this unit charged this turn, for the rest of the turn, add 1 to the attack characteristics of melee weapons. +1 attack on the charge. Yeah, they're alright. Cheap. I don't think you'll be taking very many of them. Dark Furies or Chaos Furies, they have a ward save of 6+ and they can fly, and they have the undivided keyword. They are 100 points for 6. So 6 up save, move 12, 1 health, 1 control, and then they've got the little daggers and claws. 3 attacks, 4s and 4s, -1 rend, 1 damage, and then any combat phase, if this unit is in combat, roll the dice. On a 3+, this unit can immediately use the retreat ability as if it were your movement phase without any mortal damage being inflicted on it. That's okay. Not bad. And they're relatively cheap. So I could probably see these being used over the Raptor X's, to be completely honest, because they can run away. Okay, the Mind Stealer Sphinxy thing, which is kind of cool. So the Mind Stealer Sphinxy thing is 170 points. Has a monster, it's a 5 up save, movement of 10, health of 10, control of 5, claws, 6 attacks, 4s and 4s, -1 rend, 2 damage, and then once per turn, any army-wide, any combat phase, pick an enemy unit within 6 inches of this unit to be the target, roll the dice. If this unit exceeds the target's control characteristic, the target strikes last. That's kind of cool. They used to do some really weird thing back in 3rd edition, which kind of made them really popular. They're a nice model, so, I mean, if you've got it, making a unit strike last is kind of good. It does have a 6-inch range. It's not bad in combat, but it's only got a 5 up save and no invulnerable, so, you know, it's going to get killed pretty quickly. I mean, it can be targeted by shooting, and it'll just get shot off the board. It only has 10 health, so maybe not. Okay, so the Fromrid Crusher, which is going to be coming in at 150 points for 1, is another one of those little monsters. This is kind of like a remnant from 3rd edition. They were sort of... I'm pretty sure that most of these models came out of like the Warhammer Quest board game type thing. Silver Tower, I'm pretty sure that's where it come from. 5 save, movement 6, 8 health, control of 2. He can throw terrain at you, so he picks up a rock and wings it at you. Range of 12, D3 attacks, 4s and 2s, -1 rend 2 damage. Then he's got his fists and his masonry, so 6 attacks, 4s and 2s, -1 rend D3 damage. And 6s to hit, do crits on 2 hits. Not bad. Then he has a once per turn army, any combat phase. Curse destroyers. Pick a terrain feature within 1 inch of this unit. Then pick each other unit, friendly or enemy, within 3 inches of that terrain feature to be the target. Then roll the D3 on each target. On a 2+, inflict that amount of mortal damage. Yeah, again, it's not amazing, and he's a monster with only 8 wounds and a health and an armor save of 5. So again, you know, he's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to basically do much, and he's just going to get targeted and just shot off the board. So yeah, he's not great. Okay, so we start looking at our Darkoath units now. So we got the first hero. This is the kind of first guy that kind of come out. I believe he come out in the Silver Tower, the Warhammer Quest box game that come out. Yeah, he's like it like screams Conan the Barbarian, 1980s classic fantasy. Beautiful model. Yeah, really like it. So the Darkoath Chieftain comes in at a nice, where is he? 120 points. Has a 5-up save, movement 5, health of 5, control of 2. He has his Cursed Broadsword, which is 5 attacks, 4s, 3s, -1 rend 2 damage, and does critical mortal damage on 6s to hit. Reaction, you declared a fight ability for this unit. Tribal War Leader. Pick a friendly non-hero Darkoath infantry unit that has not used a fight. Basically, you do what a Chaos Lord does to everything else, and what the Myrmidon does to Ogrids, you do this to Darkoath infantry units. If this unit is picked, and then you add 1 to the attack characteristics, I like that. It's really thematic. It makes this guy have a purpose, and it kind of ties into the other units that are around him. Really cool. Then he has a once per battle, end of the turn ability, Oath of Murder. If this unit destroyed an enemy hero or monster this turn, this unit has the strike first for the rest of the battle. If he kills a hero or a monster, strike first for the rest of the battle. That's really cool. Really like that. And he's pretty cheap. So next up, we have another infantry hero for the Darkoath, and it's the War Queen. She has a 5-up ward save and a 5-up save. And the Darkoath War Queen comes in at 140 points. She has a movement of 5, health of 5, control of 2, and she has the rune-etched axe. So 5 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1 rend 2 damage, and she has crit mortals as well. And then she has once per turn army, your hero phase. Pick an objective that this unit is contesting, roll a dice on a 3+. For the rest of the turn, other friendly Darkoath units have a 5-up ward while they are contesting that objective. That's really good. I mean, she's pretty cheap as well, so that's pretty nice. Then have a once per battle, any charge phase. Oath of Supremacy. If this unit is wholly within enemy territory and charge this phase, for the rest of the battle, add 1 to the hit rolls for combat attacks made by friendly Darkoath units while they are wholly within 12 inches of her. That's really nice. +1 to hit is really good. I like that. She's pretty decent, and you're probably going to take her, because there is a potential now of running an entire Darkoath army inside this book, which is really cool. Okay, so one of the newer heroes for the Darkoath, which is the Darkoath Chieftain on a war steed. Absolutely quality looking model, and my local store has quite a few of these Darkoath boxes still kicking them out. So tempted. So he has a 4-up save, movement of 12, health of 7, control of 2. He has his cursed weapons, pretty much the exact same as the guy on foot, and he has his horsey, which is exactly the same profile as a chaos horsey anyway. He has a passive ability. He has cavalry or war leader, so you can reroll charge rolls for friendly Darkoath cavalry units while they're wholly within 12 inches of this unit. Nice. And then once per battle, end of any turn, Oath of Murder. If this unit destroyed an enemy hero or monster this turn, this unit has to strike first. So basically, he's exactly like the guy on foot with a big sword that we've seen from the 1980s, but he's on a horse and he looks absolutely amazing. Yeah, really like this guy. Really, really like it. Next up, we have a character model for the Darkoath. Gunnerbrand is a unique hero, and he is going to be coming in at 280 points. 280 points for this bad boy, and he's one model. 5-up save, 5 move, health of 6, control of 2, dual axes, 10 attacks, 4s and 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage, and he does crit mortals on 6s. Any combat phase, this unit can only use this ability if it is in combat with an enemy hero. This unit can use 2 fight abilities this phase. After the first is used, however, it has strike last for the rest of the turn. This unit can only use the second fight ability if it is in combat with an enemy hero, and if it does so, it must pick the enemy hero to be the target of those attacks. Nice. And then once per battle, end of the turn, Oath of Bloodshed. This unit can only use this ability if an enemy hero was slain by this unit's combat attacks this turn. Friendly Gunner Oathbrand's units have a 4+ ward for the rest of the battle. So he's probably going to get a unit with this guy. And let me just check, and I'm pretty much sure he's probably going to have a little bit of a thing next to him. So you take him, and the Oathsworn Kin is required. All right, so you have to take the little unit that comes with him. So one of the models that comes with Gunner is Sigmar Brand. She is a unique hero cavalry model, and she has to be taken. She doesn't cost any points, but she has to be taken with Gunner. So she has a 5-up save, move of 12, health of 4, control of 2. She has a war bow, 18-inch range, 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, D3 damage, and auto wounding on 6s. Then she has 3 attacks with her knife, 4s and 3s, -1 rend, 1 damage, and then the horsey has a standard horse profile. She has a passive ability, only critical hits, scoring successful hits for shooting attacks that target this unit. So only critical hits score successful hits for shooting attacks that target this unit. That's really quite nice. So you need 6s to basically get her with shooting attacks. Cool. And then add 1 to the rend characteristic of this unit's bows for attacks that target enemy units that are wholly within 6 inches of friendly gunner. So you basically have her riding around protecting him. So that effect there, the passive Swift is the Wind, only critical hits score successful hits for attacks, for shooting attacks that target this unit. So you need 6s to hit her, basically, with shooting attacks. That's quite nice. And now for Gunner's unit. This is the Oathsworn Kin. And the Oathsworn Kin are... Alright, so the Oathsworn Kin is this model. So it's unique infantry, 5-up save, move of 4, a 5, health of 3, control of 1, and then heavy Darkoath weapons, 4s and 4s, 4s, followed by 3s, no rend, 2 damage, doing mortal damage on 6s, and then the staff, 3s, 4s and 4s, no rend, D3. So the War Queen Tamia and the Dendril Diebrand are each armed with a heavy Darkoath weapon. And then Broken Nadia is armed with a staff. So that one there is armed with a staff. Your hero phase, pick a visible enemy unit. Oh, sorry, enemy hero within 18 inches to be the target. And then cast it on a 2d6 on a 5 you need. Inflict 1 mortal damage on the target and subtract 1 from the attack characteristics of the target's melee weapons until the start of your next turn. It's nice. And then passive, while this unit's Broken Nadia is on the battlefield, it has Wizard 1. So it's pretty cool. Now, they all come with Gunner, so like for 280 odd points, you get a pretty decent hero, you get a really cool little mounted hero, and then you get this little bunch of guys as well. So it's not bad. I'm pretty sure this was another Warcry warband, or it was one of those really cool boxes that come out because of the cartoon on Warhammer Plus. But either way, it's pretty thematic, and if you're doing a Darkoath army, yeah, throw them in. Okay, so we got the Darkoath Marauders, and just a quick FYI, the Darkoath Chieftain, the previous one that I looked at, is 120 points. These guys, the Darkoath Marauders, are 100 points for 10. These are going to be your basic unit Marauders for basically either a full Chaos Slaves to Darkness army, or you could go full Darkoath army. So tempted. So they've got 5-up save, they've got a move of 5, they've got a health of 1, a control of 1, they've got raider weapons, so they've got 2 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1 rend, no rend, 1 damage. And they've got once per battle any charge phase. If this unit charged this phase and the unmodified charge roll was an 8, add 1 to the rend characteristic of this unit's weapons for the rest of the battle. So cool. And then they've got Glorious Death, which I really love. So when this unit is wholly within 12 inches of a friendly Darkoath hero, Each time a model in this unit is slain by a combat attack that the model was in combat with, roll a dice. On a 5+, inflict a mortal damage on the attacking unit after the fight ability has been resolved. I love it. So basically, you do damage to them, you kill a model, which you're probably going to do, and then you do a mortal damage back to them on a 5+. I like that. It's pretty awesome. Okay, then we've got our Darkoath Savages. And these guys are 130 points for 10. I kind of feel like, you know, apart from Conan the Barbarian right in the middle, they're a little bit like your elite Darkoath infantry. They have a 5-up save. They move 4. Sorry, they move 5. Health 1 and control 1. And they got Darkoath weapons. 2 attacks. 4s and 3s. No rend, 1 damage, but they do mortal damage on 6s to hit. Then they have once per battle, any hero phase, Oath of Quest. So if this unit is contesting an objective you control that is wholly within enemy territory, this unit has a 5-up ward save for the rest of the battle. So good. So if this unit is contesting an objective you control that is wholly within enemy territory, they just get a 5-up ward. That is so good. I like that. I like it. And these are really beautiful models as well. Like I said, if you really want to do like a Chaos army that's really sort of goes into that Nausicaa old school feel, this is the Darkoath stuff is really where you want to be. And you can pretty much do an entire army of them. There's so many units. Next up we have the Darkoath Fell Riders, are the cavalry unit for the Darkoaths. And the Darkoath Fell Riders are 150 points for 5 models. They have an armor save of 5, because they're pretty much naked. They've got a movement of 12, they health of 3 and control of 1. And they can basically be given each model is armed with a hooves and one of the following. So they can be given a javelin or they can be given a broadsword. So you can have like a ranger unit or you can have a pure close combat unit. So the javelin is 10-inch range, 1 attack, 4s and 3s, no rend, d3 damage. And in combat, it's 2 attacks, 4s and 4s, -1 rend, 1 damage. So you've kind of got a bit of rend, or do you go for the broadswords and have 2 attacks, 4s and 3s to wound, no rend, but they are damage 1 and they get a damage +1 on the charge. Now, there's one thing to remember. These are Slaves to the Darkness units. They are undivided, so the Eye of the Gods are going to affect this army as well. So, you know, you're going to be able to increase that rend. You're going to be able to increase other things on them. So, you know, it's pretty cool. And it's kind of like them. You can really get thematic here. And I'm going to get narrative here. You could start out with this army and start playing them. And then eventually, this unit, after a couple of battles, starts getting a couple of buffs. Consistently doing well in your games. And then all of a sudden, you roll in a unit of Chaos Knights instead. And when your friends go, where did they come from? They're like, well, do you remember my Darkoath Fell Riders? This is what they look like now. I just love that sort of, that progression that you have in a Chaos army. The Darkoath Wilder Fiend. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is the model that everyone freaked out with on the internet because they called it a Wendigo. So it has a 5-up ward and there's a 5-up save, a move of 8, and a health of 9 and a control of 1. It is Flesh Tearing Maw, so 3s, attacks 3s and 3s, -2 rend, d3 damage, pretty nice, and Razor Sharp Claws, 6 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage. Now this bad boy is going to be coming in at 190 points. Has a passive ability, Feeds of Flesh. Each time a model, friendly or enemy, is slain within 12 inches of this unit, give it a sacrifice point to a maximum of 6. If there are more than one friendly Darkoath Wild Fiends within 12 inches of this slain model, only one of them can be given a sacrifice point. It's a beast, so it can only ever have a control score of 1. And it has Primal Sorcery in your hero phase. Pick one of the following effects. Mind Shroud. Pick an enemy unit within 12 inches of this unit to be the target and roll a number of dice equal to the number of sacrifice points this unit has. If any of the rolls are 5+, the target cannot use the commands for the rest of the turn. It's pretty good. Warping Balefire. Pick an enemy unit within 12 inches of this unit to be the target and roll a number of dice equal to the number of sacrifice points this unit has. For each 3+, inflict 1 mortal damage on the target. That's pretty cool. And then Dark Might. Heal X this unit. the X is equal to the amount of sacrifice points it has. And then apply the effect, and then the rest of the sacrifice points goes to 0. I like that. This is pretty cool, and it's pretty nice. It's a lovely model as well. So I would definitely take this in a Darkoath army. So we have our terrain feature for the army, and this is the Nexus Chaotica. It's faction terrain. I think it's the big sort of Chaos Eye. I didn't even know Slaves to Darkness had a terrain feature, but apparently they do. It has cover and impassable. So dark power. Roll a dice. Give a number of power points to this terrain feature equal to the roll. This terrain feature can have a maximum of 12 power points at once. Obviously, it has a 4-up save and a health of 12. In your hero phase, Infernal Sorcery. Declare if this terrain feature has 3 or more power points, pick a friendly Slaves to Darkness wizard within 3 inches of this terrain feature to be the target. Remove 3 power points from the terrain feature and then add 1 to the casting rolls to the target. This is kind of nice. I kind of like this. I'm liking the fact that you can really buff your magic with it. And then in your hero phase, Corrupt the Realms. If this terrain feature has 9 or more power points, pick an objective or terrain feature within 24 inches of this terrain feature to be the source. Then pick any number of enemy units within 3 inches of the source to be the target. Remove 9 power points from the terrain feature and then roll a d3 for each unit. On a 2+, inflict the mortal damage equal to the roll. That's not bad. I'm really liking the +1 to cast though. I'm really liking that +1 to cast. That's kind of nice. And I didn't even know Slaves to Darkness had a terrain feature. And I do believe that this is the big sort of chaos 8-pointed star that you often see in 40k. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. In fact, let me check. So, after Googling, it is not. It is it literally is an Age of Sigmar terrain feature. It's like a half-pointed chaos star coming out of the ground with a stone in it. Never even realised they had a terrain feature. The more you know. But yeah, pretty good. +1 to cast is always quite nice. That's the Slaves to Darkness. They are pretty awesome. There's loads of stuff in there. You can have an army of Archaon. You can do an army of Bellicor. You can do a full Darkoath army if you really want. They really are cool. There's some really amazing overlapping. The Eye of the Gods is so cool. And yeah, they look really fun to play. If I was to do my top 5 picks after seeing the full warscrolls and the army faction pack now, I would probably put them as very much near the top. Very, very tempted to start them as a painting project because I think I could have a lot of fun with them because I could get Archaon. But yeah, there's so many cool models. But yeah, but that's the faction pack, everyone. I will be continually rolling them out. If there are any that you want me to do, let me know in the comments, and I will get them done. The vote was pretty much one-sided, so it looks like I'm going to be doing a faction pack for every single faction, and I will be rolling them out over the next couple of weeks. We've got a while before the battle tomes come, so they pretty much are important. So if there is one that you want me to do, let me know in the bottom. So that's the video, everybody. Please like, subscribe, share, and all of that good stuff. Most importantly, subscribe, and you can check out my members and Patreon areas. And I will catch you in the next video, everyone. Goodbye for now.